Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Three Count. As we start off with our SummerSlam preview with the card this Sunday, as we finally got the go home shows that were completed as of yesterday. Uh, Real quick, what will you guys take on the go home shows?
Crap.
Um,
Real quick.
They were crap.
I mean, they
That's
were there.
legitimately what my
They
take is.
they
They
were
were crap.
there. They were there. They were produced.
The funny thing is,
They happened.
I saw Raw and I was like, okay, SmackDown can't get worse than this, and SmackDown got worse than that. SmackDown was horrible. It's yeah. Just real quick, another part is that these are the go home shows for one of the big four people. And they did it that way. Yeah. No. Yeah, there's a lot. That might be another show. That might be for another show. But let's start with this card. So we're gonna open up with the cruiserweight title, which always tends to leave everything on the table and put on a good show. Drew Gulak versus Oni Lorcan.
I got Gulak winning, but I want Larkin to win. But I have Gulak winning because, again, he just hasn't held it for that long, and they're trying to reestablish the division. So I doubt they're going to give it to Oni when Oni's doing part-time at NXT.
I'm gonna agree. I'm gonna say Gulak for a different reason. One is because of the fact that I don't know really too much out of Oni Lorcan. The other thing is the fact that heels generally have longer title runs than faces do. So, considering the fact that this was just two pay-per-views ago that Gulak won the title and he won it in the triple threat match, um, I think he's actually going to be holding on to it for quite some time. Like honestly, probably until Survivor Series.
Well, just a caveat to that, Drew's actually the face in this situation, believe it or not. They basically turned him face. Oni is 100% a heel, like 1,000% a Samoa. He's basically the Samoa Joe of 205 Live. And if you watch
That
him
means
with Birch in NXT, you get what I mean, because those guys just literally think of like Brooklyn Brawler and the Dudley Boys. Like that's kind of their style. So like Oni is 100% the heel, and Drew is actually the face in the situation. So
I was going to
just
say
thought I had to throw that out there.
if he's Samoa Joe, then that means that he is officially definitely going to lose because of the fact that
Oh,
Joe doesn't do anything
absolutely.
but get rolled up and then look angry
Absolutely.
afterwards.
He's probably going to get some kind of weird roll-up submission and make him tap because Drew's whole gimmick is this submission master wrestler technician thing.
Yeah,
that he's got going on.
I don't think they're gonna have Oni win this one. I don't even know how they make this one matchup come around, but I think Gulak's gonna win it. He's doing so yeah, we all got Gulak winning this one. So on to the next one, which is Dolph Ziggler versus Goldberg. I mean, I think this is an easy one because Dolph has not won a match since like 2015, I think maybe. I'm exaggerating.
Well, he's won, but not nothing important.
But I mean, he's been on a bad losing streak. I mean, I think he's Kurt Hawkins 2.0 now. So I think
he's Kurt Hawkins with better hair.
Did you see his hair this week? It's like straightened out. I started laughing. I couldn't help myself. Oh, it was too funny. It was too funny. But yeah, I mean, I don't see Dolph winning this one. This is one of those where Goldberg is trying to get a redemption after what happened in Saudi Arabia.
Yep.
I mean, I actually have Dolph winning, believe it or not. But I have it a situation where, you know, you think Goldberg's going to get a squash match, and then he just hits Goldberg with like some random sweet chin music or something, and he wins. Actually, now that I say that out loud, I changed my vote. Goldberg's going to beat him in like a squash match in like 5 minutes.
No change. I already wrote it down.
Yeah.
Why you wrote it down? You got up as I was talking. There's no way you wrote that down already. Stop lying. Stop with these lies.
Yeah, I got Goldberg in this too. This is legitimately
A joke?
Dolph is the sacrificial lamb here.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that irks me about this entire situation, Rey Mysterio gets beat down by Dolph Ziggler. Ali comes out for the save. Ali loses to Dolph Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler goes and gets annihilated by Goldberg. What exactly did we just do?
Here's the funny thing. Speaking of which, that you saw that, right? You saw what happened that night, yesterday with that. Ali comes by. He goes like, "Ray, you all right? Okay, I'm gone." Like that was it. He didn't even go like, "Buddy, you okay? It's gonna be all right. You're gonna be all right. I got you." No, he was like, "You all right? All right, boom." Like, bro, I was like, I just started laughing. I was like, "Did you even ask him if he was okay?" Or did you just like tap him? Like, it was. I was just like, "Wow, this is bad." I was like, I don't know what they're doing with Ali. That made him look bad. Like, what was
Yeah.
the point? What was the point? If you want Ziggler to get a win before SummerSlam, throw somebody else out there. Because you're
Yo,
trying.
on the real, they brought it up earlier on Wrestle Talk or whatever. I hate throwing guys out there like that or whatever, especially when it's people that I think could actually be good if they were actually, given time. But they was like, you got a guy like Apollo Crews. He's not doing anything.
Nope.
Let him go out there and be the one that actually takes the L for the time being. And then, when it is that you decide, if you decide you got something for him, have him, go out there and, rebuild himself after that. But right now, why are you throwing Ali out there when you're supposedly giving this guy, like a character change and all of this other stuff? My man is supposed to be like this, not vigilante or whatever, but like he's got this whole gimmick change or whatever, where he's supposed to be like the savior of all of these people, and you just threw him out there as fodder for Dolph Ziggler
Yep.
in a match that Dolph Ziggler is going to get his ass handed to him in. But anyway,
Yep.
let's not rant too
Yep.
much.
Yeah. Uh, Plus, we all know Goldberg can't go over like a 7-minute match.
He
So
couldn't go over a 7-minute match before.
yeah. So I mean, we know that this match isn't gonna last long.
Yeah.
No.
His moveset is still limited. Still not a great wrestler. We can kind of map this one out. So
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
we got Goldberg.
speaking of Goldberg, just real quick before we move on to the next thing, from what I was hearing earlier, this is supposed to be something that we're actually going to be seeing more of, whereas we get 2 to 3 Goldberg matches a year now. Exactly. Paul, that is my exact reaction when I heard that. Why? But this is what I was hearing earlier.
If it ends with a match with Matt Riddle, I'll be okay with it. I'll be okay with it because the issue that they're going with Matt Riddle picking on him and just bashing him online and social media, and then like Booker T, Jericho, and I forgot who else came out and like, yo, Riddle, just like know your role and shut your mouth. If it leads to like a match at the end, by like the third or fourth match with Goldberg and Riddle, I'll be okay with it. I'll be okay with it. But if it doesn't, I'll be like, you had something there with Riddle just messing with him on social media and nothing. Like it wrote itself. Like Riddle pretty much is writing it for you.
Yep.
Like what else do you want?
Paul, there's one problem with what you're saying.
I know. No.
You're asking for competent booking.
I was just getting ready to just ask you, was it did it have 5 letters and rhyme with Vince?
Like you're asking for them to do the obvious and book it correctly.
It rhymes with sense, but it has none of it.
Like just not to mention how ready is Triple H to let go of Matt Riddle. That's the problem. And I don't think he's ready to let go of Matt Riddle because Matt Riddle, again, has not held a major title. And look how long Aleister Black was there before he got a title. And I think Matt Riddle is probably going to have the same kind of trajectory that Black had.
Yeah. Moving on.
Yeah.
Our next Hall of Famer, Trish Stratus versus Charlotte Flair.
Charlotte.
This is obviously
100%.
a Charlotte win, but it's like you've been saying for weeks, it's a slap in the face to Sasha because Trish's style doesn't even mesh with Charlotte's at all whatsoever. And it's just another way for them to say, hey, if you come back, just know you can't have this match because Charlotte already had it.
Mm-hmm.
So you're only hurting yourself. But again, this match is another ginormous waste of time.
I think
and it's a way to keep Charlotte out of the main title pictures.
I think it'd be a decent match.
Oh no, the quality of match should be fine because Charlotte can carry Trish. Because Trish really can't go the way she used to. But, you know, just overall, I expect it to be decent enough where it doesn't make you want to scratch your eyes out. But if you go pee, you probably won't miss anything.
Well, here's the thing, though. Like, if you look at the Hall of Fame women, though, like, and you compare them to the women now, who actually had a good set of moves that they can actually hand. Like, it's not much. I'd probably say it's either Ivory and Jacqueline, and that's probably it. Because they were
Probably.
Molly Holly wasn't bad.
Yo,
Molly Holly never got a chance to really showcase what she could do.
Yes.
Neither did Caitlyn, truthfully. Because, you know, Caitlyn really doesn't get enough credit for how good she was. Nor really does, truthfully, AJ Lee gets a lot of respect, but I still think she's underrated for how good she really was at that time.
Well,
especially
the thing about,
because she predates Paige.
The thing about AJ is the same thing that I basically, I can't even think of the word right now. I equate it to like the Alicia Keys type thing, whereas Alicia Keys is great as far as have musical talent and things like that. The problem is she's standing out in a time where the actual industry is trash. So how good is she? How would she stand up earlier in their career with other people? So that's why I'm looking at the same thing with AJ Lee. But as far as the match goes or whatever, I'm looking at it as this is going to be one of those notch in the belt type victories that they're going to give Charlotte just to say, yeah, I got a victory over a Hall of Famer. And as you said, this is a way to keep her busy without having her in the title picture. The weird thing that actually gets me, didn't really even notice it until just now. There's a lot of women's matches on this pay-per-view. And I mean, because 3 is a lot. Like,
that's actually a sad truth.
Yeah,
a very sad truth.
I'm gonna go on the limb. I'm gonna say Trish wins it, and I'm gonna say that at the end of the match, Trish wins it, Charlotte loses it, starts beating on her, and then we see Sasha come in for the save.
I don't think Sasha's coming back, bro.
Yo,
I've seen her training, and I've seen her training with a lot of different people.
But
I really don't think she's gearing up for a WWE return.
Here's the thing that would actually play into that. From what I was hearing, the story mode on 2K20 is supposed to be surrounding the 4 Horsewomen.
Yeah, the showcase. The WWE show, the 2K showcase is surrounding the 4 Horsewomen.
So I wouldn't put it past them, as they've done certain stuff like this before with what's his face when AJ Styles was a WWE champion last year, and he had to hold on to the title until the game came out. And all this other stuff. So, like I said, I wouldn't put it past them to actually have that happen.
I mean, it would be.
We haven't heard anything from Sasha either. So,
I mean, again, all I can go by is her Instagram activity, and again, I've seen her training, but I've seen her training with a lot of the talent from New Japan and a lot of the talent from AEW.
Yeah, but that's
So,
I mean,
but I
because
mean, they all train together, so it's
yeah,
not anything to sniff at. But I just it's one of those where you now stop hearing updates on a contract,
Yeah.
and whenever she's gonna come back or whatever. So I think you might be on to something, but it's a situation where I still feel like Charlotte wins, and then she still does what you said she does because that's Charlotte. But it also kind of would make sense for them to reach an agreement with Sasha because Ronda Rousey is also gearing up to come back.
Yeah, that's the
And
other
with
one.
now they have both sections of the four horsewomen again, that's going to start to stir.
Mhm.
And like you said, Benny, if they're going to do the showcase, like if you end the showcase with the four horsewomen match at like Survivor Series, then you're basically an idiot and you can't write anything.
Yeah.
So you might be onto something. I didn't even think about that.
yeah, no, it's all right. Yeah, so I'm thinking because I remember hearing that somewhere that she was going to be coming back for SummerSlam, and she's not on the card, but I mean, she could be making a reappearance on.
Oh, right. Bailey is on this card.
Yeah,
And you know what?
they're all
funny
all
that
four there.
that Bailey is on this card too.
All four are there except for her. Becky, Bailey, and
I had to think of who the other one was. That's sad. I really had to think. I was like, wait, who's the
yeah.
fourth
So
one?
I got Trish winning, and then Sasha coming in to help after the third section.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
I think they're gonna slowly build for the Four Horsemen, maybe at Mania next year. So.
I mean, if they're smart, they'll do it at Survivor Series. But yeah, Mania too, or Royal Rumble.
I don't see it for Survivor Series. It just doesn't make any sense because
that's the thing. What you can do is you can book it, but you can book it in a way that it turns into a brawl and there's no finish.
Right, because the other two are not ready yet. They're still a little green.
Right. That's why you would book it as a brawl, and then you would have the second build be at Royal Rumble, where all of them are in the ring at the same time for Royal Rumble, and that'll be that's where you see Charlotte kind of, go with everyone else because Charlotte's the one that's a heel at this point, and she's the one that's gonna be like, oh, I don't need anybody, blah 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 blah, and all this other stuff. But Charlotte and Becky have that thing where it's like, no one else could beat you up but me. But just understand that I don't like you kind of thing. Like they kind of have that dynamic where it's like, I don't like you. We don't like each other. We're going to talk trash. But if anybody talk trash about you, we fighting kind of thing. They're like really annoying sisters. And I think the only way that works for them is if they have the standoff at the Royal Rumble. And that sets up the Mania match. That to me would make more sense because then it gives Marina Shafir and the other one, Jessamine Duke, the time to develop.
Mm-hmm.
But then it also gives them, the face time that they need for the audience to get hyped about it and for the audience to push the narrative. Because again, with WWE, we know with the women, it's about the audience pushing the narrative because Vince is never going to pull a trigger on it. If they don't get the pop off the rip, then he's going to kill it. You have to do it at a time where it's like,
yeah. The only concern I have is how they're going to treat Shayna Baszler.
Oh,
again, God. they can. Who can take the most bumps? Bailey. They can have Shayna be dominant and just have one of the other two take the pin.
It's just the whole thing is that okay, if you had a pick, who would you rather see in a match, the championship match at Mania, Ronda or Shayna? I say Shayna.
Oh, absolutely. But then the way I see it too is you have Ronda win the title, but you can also have Shayna turn heel on Ronda. Like you can have Shayna turn on Ronda because it's 100% in Shayna's character to be like, hey, this was fun, but I want your title. Because that's 100% a Shayna thing to do. And Ronda is not good at being a heel. We saw that. It was hilarious to see her try, though. It was absolutely hysterical to watch her try. But Shayna is...
You know I'm doing that? You know I'm doing this? Remember, Ronda Rousey is the female version of Brock Lesnar. Vince loves Brock. Vince loves Ronda. Ain't not gonna happen.
When does XFL start?
Oh, he's not walking away.
Not soon enough.
He's not walking away. That's why he has he has Heyman and what's his name, Bischoff. There, they're gonna carry it, but they still got to go to Vince.
Yeah, but
XFL.
at that point, he can't rip up a show and all that jazz.
Oh, that's
because he's not going to be there.
That's what you think.
He's going to rip it up over internet.
Toss that this out of there and rebuild it this way, or you're fired.
I'd just get fired at that point. I'd be like, see, I just upped your ratings, and now I'm going to get fired.
Bro, I don't know. I don't know anymore, but let's just continue. The next match is AJ Styles versus Ricochet for the United States Championship.
This is one I truly have no idea because I truly don't know what they're doing with them. I think they're trying to, and what I'm noticing with Gallows coming out with the face paint, they're trying to really go back to as close to the Japanese version as they can.
Mm-hmm.
But it also doesn't make sense for me for Ricochet to lose, if that makes sense.
Oh, it makes sense.
I mean, it makes sense for Ricochet not to lose, but it also doesn't make sense for AJ Styles to lose either. Like, the only thing I can think of is if they're using this match to set up either guy for their next feud. And they don't. Like, the best way to end this match would be not to finish it. And for someone to come in to interfere. All that being said, I still think they're going to bury Ricochet and they're going to give AJ the clean win.
All right, I'm going to say that AJ wins. I'm not going to say that it's clean, though. I think what you're going to get in this is a ton of interference from the club, from the OC. I'm about to call them the club again. I think you're going to get a ton of interference from them. And that's going to be what puts it over in the end for AJ, so that they can say that Ricochet looked strong in defeat. That way, you get AJ heat because of the fact that AJ is kind of sort of untouchable.
Yeah.
So he's at that point where it honestly doesn't matter. You're not going to make AJ Styles look bad at any point. So I think these two are going to go out there. They're going to have a freaking barn burner, and then it's going to end on a fucked up note because freaking oh shit, Cassandra, nice. What's the name? It's gonna it's gonna end as a you're gonna end with a dirty finish or whatever. That way, again, you still get Ricochet. What up?
Yeah, continue. I just have a quick question about what you're saying. I just thought of something.
No, I was gonna say you still get Ricochet. You get him that babyface sympathy and everything like that, so you don't really have to worry about you don't have to worry about actually killing his momentum, but you don't put the belt on him and you still get him chasing for longer or whatever. Because honestly, not story wise or whatever, because of course you get people fighting over and over and over and over and over again. You're gonna get tired of this shit or whatever, at least from the story standpoint. But the two of them in the ring, I could watch them at any point. I'd be just enthralled. Like, yeah, let's go.
My question is, do the Usos have a match on the card?
No.
As of right now, no.
They don't. And considering their recent run-ins with the club or the OC or whatever we're calling them at this point, I feel like that they're setting that like 6-man situation up for either the next pay-per-view or for Survivor Series, because that's what it seems like. That's what's coming to fruition. And again, you also have to come into play where if they're gonna treat the OC the way they treated Vince's Bullet Club, you have to be looking for who's going to be the next person to join. The closest thing I've seen at this point would be Joe, but that depends on how they want to use Joe at this point. Because I could see, Survivor Series there being like a bloodline plus Ricochet versus the new OC or OC and Joe. Like, I feel like that could be a setup for that.
Well, a couple of things that I had been hearing, but they because of the fact they want to keep Joe as a heel, is not going to end up happening. There's a lot of people were pitching the idea of like a Samoan stable where you have Roman, the Usos, and Samoa Joe all together. Now that Joe showed he has some type of compassion for somebody after Roman got hit by a car the other day. But like I said, everybody, they went out there saying like the people like Alvarez and Meltzer were going out there actually tapping their sources and everything, and they were just like, no, there's no plans to turn Joe as a face. So honestly, that's not going to go through. Like what I'm basically thinking is going to end up happening is they're probably going to throw Finn Balor into the OC at some point. Especially if say because there hasn't been any idea about him actually going demon for his match. So say he gets beat in this one, disappears on his vacation, and then comes back and is just like, I want to go after Bray again, and brings the demon in and gets beat again. Now he has a reason to be like, all right, now I need to reinvent. So I think they would
Yeah,
go that way.
and there was also if you look at the if you want to go deep into WWE content, there was a table for three with I think it was God, who was the other people that had like alter egos? It was Finn
Foley.
and like who?
Foley?
I think it was like Finn, Foley, and somebody else.
Hold on.
That had
I could check.
I don't remember what the table for three was, but it was about changing, being able to reinvent different personas and stuff like that. And Finn said his his biggest goal would be to figure out a way to reinvent himself. And I'm like, I feel like, the demon has gotten so stale for him that again, yeah, he could go back to his old days when he was in England and try and reinvent the demon somehow. So that would actually make sense.
And the what's sad though is the fact that we can even say that the demon is stale. The thing is, it's not even so much that it's stale. It's just like it's stupid right now, and it's not like not the gimmick is stupid. It's when it's used.
Yes, that's my thing. The last time it was used properly was when he fought Seth.
Yes,
that was the last time it was really used properly.
Here's what we got from what I remember. All right. Granted, Vince had the idea he wanted to keep the demon undefeated. Fine, no problem. But your biggest glaring problem is Brock Lesnar last year.
Mm-hmm.
When he came out, and I'm saying last year like it was a year ago. This was freaking January. Mm-hmm. when he came out, you had this barn burner match between him and Finn Balor or whatever. And then a couple of months later, he comes out as the demon for Lashley.
Mm-hmm.
But so what you're saying is Lashley and the Intercontinental Championship, that was worth the demon. But Brock Lesnar and the Universal title, which is supposed to be the top title within the WWE, that wasn't worth bringing the demon out. You serious? What that basically does is that's telling me as a fan, like, there's no reason to get invested in this character. Because it's basically telling me that, like, he knows he's out there to take the fall. Now, you got smart asses like us who are sitting and knowing what's going on or whatever, and that's all fine and good. But for the casual fan, the ones that aren't looking at behind the scenes and everything like that, they look at it like, yo, why?
Yeah. Not to mention, too,
I lost where we were.
The table for three you were talking about was him and the Hardy Boys.
Yes. Thank you. That's what I was thinking about. Him and the Hardy Boys.
Yeah.
And it's one of those situations with Finn where it's like, I understand you want to protect the demon, but if you have a wrestler like Brock Lesnar who has all this time and experience, but he can't take a fall for someone he doesn't deem worthy, then you shouldn't be using him. Because again, the demon should have came out and it should have beaten Brock, because the point of the demon is that it can't be beat. And the only person to ever beat it cleanly was Samoa Joe.
Real quick, I got Ricochet winning by DQ. So because we're talking about Finn, let's jump into the Finn Balor versus the Fiend Bray Wyatt. Here's the thing. I think we're all gonna agree on this one that the Fiend's gonna win, because it's not like we're all saying here, like with the conversation we're having. unless Demon Balor's coming out, he's probably going to lay down
Mm-hmm.
in a match like this. And because of the fact that if anybody's been watching and listening to the news, he's taking a sabbatical, like a 2-month sabbatical. So this is going to like getting it squashed out.
He probably won't come back to like Survivor Series, honestly.
Who knows? What did I put?
I don't know. Maybe Ali will save him in the streets or something.
Yeah.
Is that match still happening with Ali and Shinsuke?
No.
As of right now, no. It'll probably end up on the pre-show though.
Yeah.
Even still, this guy just keeps taking L's in terms of just losing title shots for no reason.
Ridiculous, bro. No need for it. You're trying to rebuild this guy, and you're just burying him without even knowing. Moving on. Kevin Owens versus Shane McMahon. If Kevin loses, he gets.
Well, Kevin Owens is going to win because they can't afford to lose him. And also, Shane McMahon is trying to be phased off TV, so he's probably going to injure him in some capacity. Drew McIntyre is probably going to get involved because we need to move Drew McIntyre onto some kind of feud. So Kevin Owens seems like the natural progression for him to lose to. So I think it's going to be Kevin Owens.
I'm actually going to throw a curveball in here.
Oh boy,
Shane McMahon is going to win, but he's not going to win straight up. And here's why. When they had their little face off on SmackDown, Shane McMahon dropped a major hint about stuff that was going to be going on. He said, "I can beat you by I can beat you by pinfall. I can beat you by submission. I could even beat you by disqualification if you get yourself disqualified." And then right after that, guess what happened? Elias ran in the ring and attacked Kevin Owens. Why am I getting vibes that Elias is going to go out there in the middle of this match and punch Shane McMahon in the back of the head and get Kevin Owens disqualified?
It's a very WWE thing to do.
Just to stretch it out and have yourself, because of the fact that, and here's the other thing, and the reason why I'm going this way is because Kevin Owens is using the stunner. He is this generation's Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Or that's what they're trying to build him as.
What the hell does quitting in the WWE mean? It means nothing. What does getting fired mean? It means nothing. It just means
you're going to come out the crowd.
You're going
to come out the crowd. He's going to be doing stuff behind the scenes. And because of the fact that Kevin Owens also asked Shane McMahon, or he told Shane McMahon to put his career on the line too, and Shane was just like, no. So I got a feeling that, like I said, they're going to be getting ready to build towards Shane McMahon, actually putting his career on the line at some point. And since it's not right now, I don't see him actually losing.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I love how somber this review is. Because it's just kind of disheartening to see, honestly.
I'll stay with KO. I mean, because of the fact that since Shane didn't put his career on the line, I think he's going to win and just to stay alive, and they'll stretch it out.
This really doesn't need to be stretched out, but
Yeah. All right. So now we get into the title matches. We're going to start with the women. So we got Bayley versus Ember Moon.
I was going to say Bayley up until y'all brought up this whole 4 horsewomen thing. Now I'm really thinking it's Ember Moon is going to win this title.
What?
I really think Ember Moon's going to win now.
I'm going to write you down for Ember Moon.
Yeah, write me down for Ember Moon. I'm 100% behind Ember Moon on this one. Only because they need to kind of keep Bayley free, and her having the title doesn't do that. And someone else having the title would allow for them to build other women and do other things while keeping Bayley open, especially if Sasha comes back.
Gotta do one of this.
Especially if Sasha comes back.
You're asking too much.
Oh, I'm asking for too much.
Yeah, you're asking Vince to actually follow some kind of protocol, some kind of storyline to help. You know, a way to build his women's roster. You're asking a lot.
Yeah, I am asking a lot.
And we actually mean Vince, because that's who it comes down to.
Yeah.
This is the man that's the script for SmackDown with like 4 hours before the show starts, even less than that. For the last
no, I hear what you're saying, but again, with Paul made a good point. You have to now factor in the 2K20 video game story arc.
Oh, Betty.
The showcase. Yeah, you have to factor that in now. And you have to understand that this isn't about storyline for Vince when it comes to that. This is about business, and this is about his money. And when he starts to act right when it comes to other properties outside of the actual wrestling, around the time where you know they're gonna release a product is when he starts acting right. So I think that might, if Sasha Banks comes back, they'll go in that direction. If Sasha Banks doesn't come back, then Bayley will probably retain. But I'm still gonna go with Ember Moon because Wakanda forever.
All right. I was actually going to say Ember Moon prior to the last couple of weeks.
Oh God, they're
But
making her too strong for you, Benny. They're
no,
building her up too much.
it's not that. It's just like, all right, 3 weeks ago, Ember Moon and Bayley are in this in the ring together, and what's name Ember ends up taking out Bayley and Charlotte, looking as strong as she possibly could.
Uh-huh.
The very next week, Ember takes the pin against Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross for what? Absolutely nothing. For absolutely no reason, because Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross had nothing to do with anybody.
Uh-huh.
So she takes the L. And then after she takes the L, she gets put down by Bayley. This past week, she falls victim to Natalya and her freaking super mega Super Mario Brothers mushroom thing with the superstar that she got for whatever reason, that she's just the most unstoppable woman on the planet until she meets up with Charlotte, because Charlotte beat the living hell out of her on Monday. No offense whatsoever coming the other way, because Charlotte is Charlotte. As far as I'm concerned right now, Ember has no heat. She has no momentum. And as much as I want this match to be great, this is honestly the match that I am looking, aside from Bray, this right here, this match was the one that I wanted to be the most excited for. And I honestly can't right now because of what they have done in this feud. So for right now, I'm sticking with Bayley.
I'm going with Bayley as well. The reason being is if you have Bayley and Becky with the belts, it gives a little more to the four horsewomen. You can have Ronda and Shayna vying for these belts when they come out.
Uh-huh.
I mean, and then you can put the tag titles on Charlotte and Sasha, and then you can have a brawl for all with the titles. The four horsewomen brawl for all the titles.
You 100% could, but I don't think them having them on them now would make sense.
Well, they can keep them now until maybe Survivor Series or maybe December. Or
I think honestly they wouldn't. It doesn't make sense to put the titles on the four horsewomen to Royal Rumble. Really?
No, I'm saying like Bayley and Becky can have.
No, that's what I mean.
Oh, okay.
Like, I feel like they can drop those titles. Like, I don't think Becky's gonna drop the title because Becky has that persona, but Bayley doesn't have that. Like, Bayley doesn't have that kind of mystique where it's like, oh no, she's at the top of the division. Like, her losing her slot at the top of the division is such a Bayley thing to do that unless they're going for a character change, it doesn't affect her. like her losing it to me doesn't affect her at all.
Yeah, the thing is, I'm hearing though is that apparently, supposedly, that the man allegedly has lost a little bit of power.
Say that again.
What happened?
You just broke up heavy.
Becky
now.
lost a little bit of her push for a pop. So
of course she did.
Kind of iffy on keeping the belt on her, so we'll see what happens with that. So
well, I mean,
well, that's what happens when you fight Lacey Evans for 10 years.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. You basically had her feud with Lacey Evans. You basically have her come out and run these crappy promos.
Mm-hmm.
Like her promos recently have been terrible.
The funny thing
they've just kind of, you know, they eviscerated her because they're like, oh no, you're doing too much on Twitter. But it's like, also give her a legitimate, like, granted, Natalya in the ring is a legitimate threat. But on the mic, Becky's carrying the feud, and it sounds like a bunch of goofy crap. And especially because she's coming off a feud where basically she was teaming up with her boyfriend. Like, of course, putting her with Seth Rollins basically killed the whole man push anyway. So it's like, oh no, she's just, y'all only doing this because they're dating. And it's like, you make her look soft, sorry to say.
Mm-hmm.
You made her look soft. Like, that's Vince's fault that she lost the push. Or that she lost the heat.
No, it
because
is.
Again,
100%.
Because again, think about Becky when she was on SmackDown and she was the top of the division. It wasn't the fact that she was chasing the title. It was the fact that literally, even when she was on top, she was still the type of person where she's going to punch first and ask questions later. Now they just got her getting on the mic talking about, oh, you want to challenge me? You're going to get knocked down too. And it's like, just punch her in the face and shut up. Like, talk your trash after you punch her in the face. Like, we liked Becky because she just straight up punched first and asked questions later.
Yeah.
Like, why are you eviscerating her? Why are you making her PG? Just because she's a champion now? It's like, no, that's what makes Shayna so good.
And the other thing was,
Shayna still beat up people.
The other thing was, like, her Twitter is like on fire. Don't try and mute her Twitter. Her Twitter is what helped build her. So speaking of Becky,
like I get that she came at Ronda too hard. Like, all right, I get it. She really OD'd on Ronda a couple of months ago. But outside of that, her Twitter game has been fire.
Yeah. Speaking of Becky, let's go to that Becky and Natalya match. And it's a submission match. It's like, why? I mean,
because they needed to find something to do. That's all.
It wouldn't surprise me if Natalya won. Only because it's like, after Becky's done with Natalya, who's really next? Who's next in line?
Here's what I'll throw out for you.
Naomi.
No, I'm gonna throw this one out. Becky wins. Think about it. What happened on Monday, and what Natalya's been doing lately. She's been putting the sharpshooter on and keeping it on far longer than she's supposed to. So what I can see happening is Becky wins by submission and keeps the arm lock, the disarmer on longer than she's supposed to. And guess who comes in to save Natalya? Her best friend, Ronda Rousey.
Would they bring Ronda back this early though?
She's not getting pregnant. She's not getting pregnant.
Yeah, I know. For some odd reason, they stopped trying. But I'm saying it's still really early. Like, really, really early. Especially if they're going to build towards them two going at it one-on-one. Because I think they'd rather have those two go one-on-one than have them do another triple threat match. Because that was terrible.
Right. But you can build until, like, Survivor Series.
Or Royal Rumble. You're right. Wouldn't surprise me if Sasha and Ronda Rousey came back tomorrow. It would get the most views, I'll tell you that much. Like, that is what will get them trending. But I don't see them being that smart or having that kind of sway with either person to bring them back.
So you got Becky? Becky with the good hair?
Yeah, I'll go with Becky, just so that, like, I don't fall too far behind in the standings.
You're thinking about Natalya, weren't you?
I am, only because it's like, if Natalya wins, as terrible of a champion as she would be, it would give a fresh look to the division, which I think is needed. That would be the only reason why I would, because Natalya can be a bridge champion. And, like, I kind of want them to, like, low-key debut, like, Rhea Ripley and just put the title on Rhea Ripley and just let everybody else do it. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I want them to, because, like, with Tegan Knox coming back, that whole team kick thing is going to kick into full swing. Like, then the women's tag titles will actually have something to do if he just lets Triple H handle them, which he probably won't. But, I mean, the possibility is there. And Rhea Ripley's been doing nothing on the circuit since she lost her title to Toni Storm. She's just been teaming with this Rhea Gonzalez, I believe her name is. And they've just been, tag teaming on house shows. So, like, she's not doing anything anyway. Not to, like, and with Nia Jax out, you're missing that dominant force in the women's division. So why not bring up Rhea Ripley? It makes sense. Why not bring up both of them, actually?
You're asking
because you don't need it in the NXT UK division because you got Piper Nevins. You don't need it. So it would make sense. I doubt it'll happen, but it'll make sense. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Becky, I guess. I'm gonna go with the safe pick here.
What are you looking at, Benny?
I'm gonna say Becky Lynch. Like I said, right now, to me, the reason why Natalya is in this match is solely Canada. They needed a challenger that wasn't Lacey Evans, and they figured they were in Canada, so hey, let's just throw Natalya a bone. I'm not buying into Natalya's this whole badass Natalya movement. I'm not with it at all. So it's just like at this point, it's like her winning to me is unrealistic. I don't think they'd be willing to, sacrifice the idea of Becky Lynch as champion this fast, especially after it's been a year now since the Becky Lynch, story started building, because it actually started up last SummerSlam when Charlotte won the title off of Carmella. But like I said, and especially considering the fact that you have this the 2K thing. If they do the same thing that they did last year, like, she's gonna have the belt at least until the game drops, which is going to be in October. So I think the real question here is what Jaquan had asked earlier: who's next after this? Because honestly, right now, I don't know.
Naomi is the only name that comes to mind that I think is on the roster. They've been building Dana Brooke, so I mean, if you want to do the whole, tiny but mighty thing, you could do that.
But she's been on the main event in the undercard shadows. Like, she hasn't been on TV too much, which sucks. I mean, we'll see what they do with her at the end of the day.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with that. As far as I'm concerned, though, like,
match.
what I would like to see, oh god, nah, man, we did gauntlet matches legitimately to death on the way to WrestleMania. I don't want to see any more of those anytime soon. So
get ready. Get ready. That's all I'm gonna tell you. Get ready.
I'm gonna say probably it depends on damn. I was gonna say it depends on how close Nia is to coming back.
Not at all.
Because
she just had surgery this year.
From what she was saying, that it was surgeries on both her ACLs, but they weren't torn. So I'm like, first of all, why would you get surgery if it wasn't torn?
Because she couldn't wrestle on them anymore. Like, that's how bad they were. They were so afraid that she was gonna tear her ACLs and be out for longer that they made her get surgery because she was wrestling on two. The same thing with the Ruby Riott and her shoulders. They were wrestling on bad, like, basically it was bone on bone at this point. Like, no cartilage, no nothing. So, like, they were one bad move away from, like think about it this way: Nia could have done her finisher, that leg drop, and tore her ACL. That's where she was.
Yeah,
Or she could
like
have
right
tried to
now,
get up and tear her ACL.
right now, like I said, I don't see. I really don't see anybody viable at the moment. Um, which would be the same thing if Natalia was to actually win the title, unless you wanted to do another rematch and have them face off again, because this situation didn't resolve itself after this, after SummerSlam. Like right now, like there's really nobody else there. Carmella's tied up with R-Truth. Um, what is it? Tamina's lost in the void somewhere.
I think she got hurt.
I think she got
Uh,
hurt again too. I mean, if you want to
unless you
build
want
Drake Maverick's girlfriend, you could
to
do
hell
that.
no.
Or wife.
No, let's not do that.
I mean, you could also go the Zelina Vega route.
I mean, granted, she looked damn good in some ring gear, but
Ooh, bruh.
but like I said, I don't want to go that route. I don't want to go the route with Zelina Vega just because of the fact that takes Andrade and puts him in something that he doesn't need to be involved in. So,
And they're just
and then
starting to
that
build him, so
automatically just turns into, well, Andrade's involved in it, so guess who else has to be involved in it now? Seth Rollins.
Charlotte.
And I
Oh,
don't want it. I don't want.
I was gonna say
Just,
Charlotte. I don't know where Seth Rollins came from, but
no more. None of that. Get that crap up out of there. I was just saying.
yeah,
They'd have to build up Sarah Logan after that.
yeah.
They'd have
Which
to
is
build
what
up Sarah Logan, but they have to
which
take
is
time
what
to
they
do it.
should have been doing. But like you said, Vince don't like Sarah, so
Yeah.
I don't know.
that's
But
all
anyway,
that
I'm
is.
going with Becky.
Back
Yeah.
on. Pull it back in, guys. Pull it back in.
Yep.
SmackDown title. Randy Orton versus Kofi Kingston. Kofi finally gets up there for the title.
All right. This right here is where they should have gone the moment Daniel Bryan got injured. Because of the fact that they didn't sat up here and they didn't put Kofi into these bullshit ass feuds, leading from WrestleMania. The only one that actually felt even like legitimately threatening was Samoa Joe. This right here is the one thing that I think Kofi needs to solidify his title run and just bring the whole story going back to 2010, 2011 and bring it full circle and put a nice little bookend on it. I think Kofi's winning. I think this match is going to be competitive as hell. I think there are going to be a lot of false finishes, and I can almost guarantee you there is going to be an RKO that Kofi kicks out of.
There's also going to be a stupid chant from one of
Oh,
them.
yeah.
It's going to be, yeah.
Who do you got, Benny?
Kofi.
Kofi?
Kofi.
Wow.
Kofi. Yeah.
I'm torn on this one. I really am. I feel that his run is going to end soon. It's like I said, I thought he was just a placeholder for Saudi Arabia because Daniel Bryan said he wasn't going to go. We knew he didn't want to go, and they built nothing after that. And like Benny was saying, this is the one that should have gone to right after he won it. Plus, it was a nice touch when he was doing a gauntlet, and I think it was Randy was the last one he had to beat, and he beat him. So yeah.
I mean, also you have to take into account that Randy isn't full time anymore.
That's
So
right.
He does have a routine schedule.
Yeah.
So why put the belt on him?
Yeah. Go on, Kofi. Go on, Kofi then. And now on to our main event. The Beast Slayer, Seth Rollins versus Brock Lesnar.
It sounds even more terrible coming from you.
I wasn't even trying.
This one is tough because Seth Rollins is kind of losing his luster a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I think
then
a lot of it.
He's losing a lot of it, and a lot of it, like this would be the perfect time for them to semi-turn him heel, but I don't think they will. And you don't really know what Brock Lesnar's commitments to the WWE are at the moment, especially with Paul Heyman in control, and then Seth really just lost it. That being said, I do think that Seth Rollins is going to win, only because it would make more sense to have the title on TV and see what Paul Heyman can do with it now versus having it off TV and having Paul Heyman try to book a show and rebuild the US title. It just doesn't make sense. So I think Seth wins.
What do you think? I got a nice little swerve for everybody.
Oh, fun! Those are always fun.
I think that the general consensus is that Seth is going to get a clean victory over Lesnar, just because the WrestleMania victory is looked at as being quote unquote tainted. But I'm just like, I'm so blah on this match. Seriously, like Seth for the last couple of weeks has. I mean, not the last couple of weeks. This past Monday looked like a complete dumbass for going out there to try and quote unquote fight against Brock Lesnar in the the hurt condition that he was. And that was their whole idea, to try and get Seth the babyface sympathy, and it just flat out didn't work. So I'm honestly not sure how to lean on this one. I'm probably gonna say Brock.
Wow.
I'm gonna say Brock.
I mean, again, I understand the logic. Like, I get it. Like, Brock winning isn't gonna be a surprise, but I just think Heyman's smarter than that.
Here's how I was looking at it. All right. Here's how I was looking at it. All right. Seth is gonna win. Heyman's gonna be involved. Now here's the question. I'm trying to figure out how I would write this and how I would look at this. Do you want to have it where Heyman does something small and makes you wonder if he's looking to get away from Brock, or does he deliberately do something to cause Brock the match, and then just flips and turns on Brock, and Seth Rollins becomes a Heyman guy?
You know what? That would actually be entertaining. Well, sports entertaining, and would be booked well, which is why I don't believe it'll happen.
But the thing is, you got to remember, this is Heyman. Heyman's taking care of the show. That's why I think
I agree with you, but that would actually make people sports entertained, which is why I don't think it'll happen.
So I'm going with that. I think that's what's going to happen. That would be interesting if they go with that angle, because remember, Brock can come back and go as he pleases, and you get away from the Heyman guy and Heyman being a Heyman guy, and I'd like to see Brock go a little unhinged next time he comes back.
I mean, I just don't like seeing Brock in wrestling, period. If I'm being quite honest, he's like the old grizzly bear that you just kind of want to shoot and get away from. Like, I want him to go back to UFC, but I know that won't happen. And I just, like, I get he's still fit. I get he can still go. And I get that a lot of his accolades came very early in his life. So he's not really that old. But he's at a point now where he's always kind of had someone. So to take someone away from him, it's like, yeah, can Brock hold it by himself? I don't think so. Brock, the only thing that makes, unless it's one of those where you use Brock as like a way as like the door to getting to the main event picture again, where like really to legitimize the main event picture, like you got to go through Brock, and you're probably going to lose to Brock, but you at least got to put up a good fight the way Samoa Joe did. Then sure, that makes sense. But if Brock's going to be around, even in a small capacity, then like move him to SmackDown or something, because then Vince can book him that way. Because the thing that really is tainted the Universal title is his run and Goldberg's run. Like the title as paper championship as it is was actually somewhat legitimized when Kevin Owens held the title. I hated Kevin Owens' run because it felt more like Jericho's run, but at least it was on TV consistently. At least it was a title, and at least you could build something around it. Once Goldberg won it, it feels more like the Legends title than it does the Universal title. Because that's all they give it to. Is people who are quote unquote legends. Like at this point, we might as well just bring Taker back and have him go square with Brock, so that like we can Brock erasing the streak, and Undertaker can hold the Universal title for the next 4 years and show up 4 times. Like that's kind of where we are now.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting pay-per-view and see where they're going to go. I mean, it was annoying. It was horrible to see that on one of their 4, again, like one of their 4 major pay-per-views that they always claim, that the go-home shows were just bad.
Yeah, and that's a part of the problem too, is that because the go-home shows were so bad, you can't trust the booking. And the fact that now you got Vince ripping up shows again and putting them on 2.5 hours before they're supposed to go on. Who's to say he doesn't tear up SummerSlam and do the same thing? Like there's no trust there whatsoever.
No. And the crazy part was that Reigns is not on this card.
Yeah.
He's not on this
Which
card.
I think it's a good thing. Because we already know he's going to win if he's on a major card like this. So it's actually kind of a good thing. I'd rather see him go back to like OG Shield Reigns and just hop the fence and beat the snot out of somebody and then walk away. Like, okay, Joe, you got this movie going on. You know, you play a badass in the movie. You know, I want him to bring back the freaking Iron Hammer thing that he has in the movie so that he can just crack somebody.
I think
I want to see Roman Reigns without the vest. Like, give me the non-vest Roman Reigns. Just have him come out in a hoodie, beat the snot out of somebody, and walk away. That's it. That's all I want to see.
I think they were building towards that with the whole segment with him and Buddy Murphy. Which, when I saw that, I was like, I want to see this match. I really want to see this match.
See, I would have been fine if he didn't punk Buddy Murphy.
Yeah.
He punked him. Like, that killed Buddy Murphy to me. I mean, he ain't even show up, but at least he had the allure. Like, he still had the rub from this amazing cruiserweight title reign. And then he just gets thrown around and bitched by Roman? Like, what?
Why are you surprised?
I'm not surprised, but it's just like, I don't want to see Buddy Murphy. Like, now I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, even if he comes out and kicks Ali in the face, it's like, all right, Ali's going to be like, I'm going to go tell my big brother over there. And you going to get thrown around again. That's how I look at Buddy Murphy. He's like the middle school bully that got smacked around by a high school kid. You're not scared of him no more.
Oh, man. It's
like, dang. Truthfully, you know who would have made sense being the culprit? Mojo.
Me?
You know who should have beat up in the back? Mojo. Mojo is the guy who played the same position he did in college. That is Roman Reigns did in college. Their size is basically equal, except Roman may be taller than him. So he wouldn't be able to punk Mojo like that. But at least if he had to pin him down and get an answer out of him, it would look like something that, you know, Roman Reigns is actually like intimidating instead of him looking like he's picking on somebody's little brother.
Yeah, but Buddy Murphy's not that small. He's short, but he's not that small, though.
He was a former cruiserweight champion. Period.
Bro, that scale was not.
So what? That means he's the same size as Seth Rollins to me. And Roman has thrown around Seth Rollins for ages. Like, it doesn't look scary. When you got him going against Braun Strowman, Samoa Joe, Drew McIntyre, and guys like that for his last couple, you gotta keep him in like that heavyweight, super heavyweight class where it's like, if he gonna smack around somebody, let it be somebody that you can be like, okay, because Mojo's talking about intensity and all this other stuff. Mojo would be the type of dude to try to run somebody over like that. Like, he's a crazy dude to try to do something like that.
Would you, Mojo? Would you really?
But then again, too, it also gives him something to do, because then he could have joined Bryan and Roman and actually been on TV. It would have given us a storyline that even when it's over, we actually still have something new. But nah. Yeah, you're right. I deserve that. I'm sorry. My bad for having a good idea.
Yeah.
My bad. You're right. You're right. Continue. I'm sorry. We're going overtime anyway. My bad. Yeah. I'm sorry.
It's all right.
I'm sorry.
I should have done it myself to, like, when I had that Heyman.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying. We should have hit you with that too, because that's too much of a good idea. That makes too much sense.
I just thought of it. I was like, that was a good idea. I'm like, nah. Oh, all right, everybody. It's been fun. This is our preview of how we see SmackDown come. SummerSlam coming around this Sunday. We are asking a lot, but we know that Vince will probably change it for 30 minutes for showtime.
Yep.
We'll see. Hopefully, that the guys, the men and the women, can put on a good show for us, no matter what comes up from the script that Vince puts out. Because that's all you can ask for, you know. Not the wrestler's fault. They just do what they can. They work with what they got, you know. Until next time, see you.
Sorry this is so long.